Good evening, everybody, and this is Tony Bianchi bringing you the WWE Raw review for September the 19th, 2016. Yes, tonight was the debut of the Cruiserweight division, and oh God, I have some problems with that, with the Cruiserweight division. It's supposed to be an inaugural Cruiserweight division match. And once again, the WWE disappoints. And this is also the go home show for the Clash of Champions pay per view for Monday Night Raw this Sunday. Yeah, I have to say this show was very awkward. I mean, there were so many spots where there was this pauses and I don't know. I mean, the show was just off. I mean, you had like one or two good matches tonight, and the rest was just mixed up with no build up to the pay per view at all, especially for the championship matches. Because they say at Night of Champions, I mean, Clash of Champions, all titles will be defended, including the Cruiserweight title, which TJ Perkins, who you may know was Suicide from TNA, then became Manic, and now the winner of the Cruiserweight Championship belt, which is, oh my God, you know, when I was listening to Joe Cronin's show, he described what that belt was going to look like. It's going to be a small belt with just a W with that network logo on it. He was right. And oh God, purple. I don't know who decided that the belt should be purple. Uh, you could tell that they were trying to copy the TNA Grand Championship belt, because of the octagons. Once again, they're watching other wrestling shows, try to copy them, but they do it badly. And that title was ugly. It was purple, it didn't have any color. I mean, the old Cruiserweight title would have been better. I don't know why they didn't use the old Cruiserweight title. Especially the WCW Cruiserweight title. That was a lot better. I have to say the two matches that were impressive were the women's match and the Cesaro versus Sheamus match of the best of 7. And yeah, although there were moments in the show that was great, but that was just it, moments. There was no constant action throughout the entire show. This is mostly talking and in-ring promos. And there was no build-up to the so-called United States Championship match between Rusev and Reigns. And the main event, which I don't know, it was supposed to try to build up the Universal Championship match between Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, but it didn't do that. It only made Roman Reigns strong. In the tag team division, Raw, I don't know. I mean, this was the only time where you get to see all the Raw tag teams in together, and I don't know. Yeah, it's the New Day versus Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, and well, I really want the New Day to lose those tag team titles, but I don't know, not to Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I mean, look what they've done to them. I mean, especially with the ring post-itis when they have balls in jars than the old farts. I don't know. Yeah, this is just jumbled. This show was just jumbled up. Had no build up to the pay-per-view. And I have a bone to pick with Michael Cole tonight because this guy can piss you off, and this guy really pissed me off throughout this entire show. Or this guy, I mean, this guy, he has no knowledge of what's happened in WWE, no knowledge of wrestling history, and let's face it, WWE, they can change wrestling history, and we all know what happened. But guess they go try and change it. Because Michael Cole said that the cruiserweight division is the newest division in the WWE. The newest division of the WWE. Okay, Michael Cole. WCW had a cruiserweight division way in the 90s. And if WCW were alive today, we would have seen the WCW Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions. But because AOL had to ruin it for everyone, WCW fell. And still, it has the best ratings as to Raw and SmackDown. And WCW and WWE had the light heavyweight division, although it wasn't as good. They didn't do much with the light heavyweight division. I mean, the first champion was Taka Michinoku, and they didn't do anything to try to build him up as a great champion. They didn't even try to have him compete for any of the major belts. And the stereotype that they gave him, he did a lot better in New Japan than WWE. And also, the whole unification of the WWE Cruiserweight title, of WWE, the WCW Cruiserweight title, and the WWE Light Heavyweight Division title that X-Pac won, that was the beginning of the WWE Cruiserweight division. And the WWE Cruiserweight division back then was more high-paced. It was great. It had Rey Mysterio Jr., not Rey Mysterio, as the WWE would like to tell you. It had Billy Kidman, Paul London, Ultimate Dragon. And they ruined it when they put the belt on Hornswoggle. And then to have Michael Cole just say that it's the newest division of the WWE. And tonight you only had one match. And you think that's going to be all right? Yeah. Michael Cole just ruins everything. He just ruined this whole entire show. And the way that he described the cruiserweight contestants tonight, was just awful. And let's face it, they really cannot tell you any more about their wrestling careers because they've wrestled in their competition, like Ring of Honor. That's where Cedric Alexander came from, and yet they didn't try to mention that. Only they talked about his family life, but no, they're not going to talk about his Ring of Honor career or the PWG careers. Let's face it, PWG is way better than the WWE. More high pace, just like Ring of Honor. Oh, look, okay, we got someone chatting. Which WWE women wrestler for the main roster would you want a blowjob from? Let's see. If Paige was, if Paige was here, it would have been Paige, but since she's not here, I would have to say, maybe Alexa Bliss. Oh yeah, Alexa Bliss, especially now that she's dressed up like Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad. Yeah, that would be a win wrestler that I really want to get a blowjob from. Let's see, maybe I guess. Let's see, maybe in second place. I have to say Carmella. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Alexa Bliss first, then Carmella, and for third place. Uh, wait, scratch that. No, maybe for top, maybe Bailey. Yeah, Bailey. Yeah, that's my answer. Bailey. I have a blowjob from Bailey first, and well, let's get on with this review. Well, Monday Night Raw was in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm surprised that Jerry King Lawler was here. But I guess because of certain things, what's been going on in the wrestling world, with domestic disputes, especially the reason why the Dudley Boys aren't here because of what was going on in their training facility. Because the Dudley Boys got their own wrestling school, and there was a little bit of an issue with domestic dispute, mainly involving a TNA knockout. Uh, Shoot, I forgot. Oh yeah, TNA knockout Jane and her boyfriend. She made a inquiry about. I don't know. She was trying to make some try to make a charge of domestic dispute with her boyfriend, which he kept. I don't know, headlocks and all that, and the Dudley Boys didn't want her to make a report, and I think that's why they're out because. Yeah, all this domestic dispute with the WWE really killed it. But yeah, once again, we have WWE Monday Night Raw starting with talking. And so they show a video package of what happened last week with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Let's see. And then it kicks off with Roman Reigns music playing and going down to the ring. Or just moving him. And before Reigns even talks, you have Stephanie McMahon's music playing. Yep, more talking. As she comes down the ring, and she's talked about how she knows Reigns wants to carve his own personal path to destruction, but she has a show to run. And then she just talked about Mick Foley's decision last week, and then guess what happens? Mick Foley music plays. Yep. Uh, and then Mick Foley just starts saying that Stephanie was in Singapore and the show got away from him. And that was on him. And Mick Foley said he didn't make himself clear that he didn't want outside interference, dictating the conclusion of the main event. And then he said tonight he's going to take the two perpetrators, Seth Rollins and Rusev, because Rusev cost Roman Reigns the match last week against Kevin Owens. And so tonight he put Seth Rollins versus Rusev tonight. And then Reigns opens his mouth. He said, great, well, what's in it for him? Said 3 weeks ago, Stephanie's husband Triple H screwed him over. Then last week, Rusev did the same. And then Reigns noticed that he never. And then he's talking about how Reigns never going to see Stephanie's card's husband again, but he knows Rusev is back there. But then Nick Foley stops him and said that that he has a United States Championship match in 6 weeks against Rusev at Clash of Champions. And then Stephanie guarantees that it will happen. Yeah. And Foley goes on to talk about this, that talks to Reigns that he has no reason not to believe her. Stephanie has been upfront about her personal dislikes of Reigns. And she goes on saying that Stephanie is the only reason he's steady in the ring. You're right. It personally offends him that the WWE superstars are not taking him at his word. Superstars are deciding matches in ways other than inside the ring. Yeah. And then Foley said he wants Reigns and Kevin Owens to give it their all. And Foley was wondering how the WWE could boo Reigns. Yeah, because of you guys. You guys didn't build him up right. He should have been fighting for the United States Championship belt in WrestleMania against Rusev, but you guys screwed that up. You gave it to Cena. You buried Rusev. I mean, it would have been better against Rusev versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But no, you had to ruin it. I mean, you could have just put Cena versus Brock Lesnar and have Seth Rollins score a pin on John Cena. That would have been better, but no. You chose this path and it ruined Reigns. And then he talks about the truth is they're all part of the Raw family. Well, except for Jack Swagger, who was kicked off of Raw and now on SmackDown for some reason. As I said, they are engaged in a fight for their survival against SmackDown Live. If it doesn't go well, Stephanie will land on her feet, but he'll be on his couch and disappear. All right. Stephanie says that that's not true, but Foley says it is. God, you know what? I don't get it. Foley was great in TNA. I mean, he has some great matches in TNA, especially with him against Abyss, but I guess anything that's not for the WWE didn't really happen. I mean, he could have been going back to TNA or probably some other wrestling show. I mean, he's got a book deal. And then Foley said his favorite for everyone has a reality show on the WWE network. But if they lose the ratings war that are out the window, in the end, all he has is his word. Stephanie says that she's proud to have Foley as the general manager, asks what he will do. Then Foley says that he's signing Reigns to face Kevin Owens again tonight. And then this match was going to be contested in the steel cage. So, And then when this decision was made, Kevin Owens' music plays. He goes down there. He gets pissed off because of this. And then Stephanie McMahon says this match will be for the Universal title. It's going to be a non-title match to take place inside the steel cage. And once again, Foley says right here in Memphis, Tennessee. And again, these cheap pops by Foley. And then Seth Rollins' music plays because the match between Seth Rollins and Rusev was up next. Yeah, we start the show with talking, and I don't get why we have to have talking in the beginning of a show. At least when TNA talks, it leads up to a fight. At least it's more aggressive talking. I mean, especially with Bobby Lashley and Moose. I mean, the way they were talking at each other, you knew it was going to be a fight afterwards, but not with the WWE. No, because they want to cater to the kids. Okay, if that's what they want to do, that's their prerogative, but come on. Seriously, do they not see the problem with this format? Yeah. During a little promo between Root with Foley, Stephanie, and Reigns, there was a little bit of a long pause before Kevin Owens' music played. And I really see, this is what happens when you base a wrestling show on entertainment instead of wrestling. Because you got to remember lots of lines to try to make the story good instead of having two guys fight it out or two women fight it out like a Ring of Honor. But no, you got to have that. I mean, let's face it, New Japan is great because there's wrestling, with less on the sports entertainment side. Okay, and then we had the match between Seth Rollins and Rusev. I don't know, this match was good. Yeah, so high points like the Sling Blade by Seth Rollins and Rusev. I mean, Rusev saw some power. And Michael Cole was scoring up and talking about the wrestling moves that these guys are doing. That's another little problem that I've been having with him. A super duper suplex. I don't know. I mean, it was a great fighting. And Seth Rollins did a reverse STO to Rusev and the middle turnbuckle. That was a good part in the match. And then led up to the part where Rusev was outside the ring. Seth Rollins went for a dive between the ropes to Rusev into the barricade. And then Seth Rollins went back in the ring, and Rusev looked like he was trying to escape. And then Seth Rollins went for another dive through the ropes, and he caught Rusev. And then the action led up to the platform, in which both wrestlers were counted out, so no one won. And then it led up to Rusev gaining the advantage, and he was near the commentator's table, which is stationed near the stage, just like it was around 2006. And then Rusev looked like he was trying to powerbomb Seth Rollins through the table, but then Seth Rollins slid out on top of the back of Rusev, and then he pushed Rusev off the stage, and he fell on top of the ground, and that was it for it. Seth Rollins got the upper hand on Rusev. It's just, I don't know. I was expecting more. I mean, it was a great match, but then you end it with a count out. You couldn't have either one of them win the match clean. I mean, at least try to help build up Seth Rollins with a victory over Rusev. Then you could have did that spot on the platform, but they didn't. I mean, you could have had Seth Rollins roll up for a win, and then Rusev attacked him. Then you did a dive through the ropes. But yeah, this was not my favorite match. And then after the commercial, and then they had a backstage with then they showed a Triple H replay between Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Dana Brooks, and they showed how both of the Bayley and Sasha Banks shoulders were down, so it was the pin. And you see Charlotte and Dana Brooks trying to weasel out a championship match with Sasha Banks. And then Charlotte said that there's no number one contender, says both of them pin each other. And then Dana Brooks made a suggestion that they cancel the tag team match between them and have Sasha Banks and Bayley go at it one more time. And to see who will lose to Charlotte on Sunday. But then Foley said that Dana Brooks gave him a great idea. And so he said that tonight he's going to make the Red Women's Championship belt or the Raw Women's Championship match a triple threat between Bayley, Sasha, and Charlotte. And Charlotte got so pissed off at Dana Brooks that she grabbed Dana Brooks' breast. I'm not kidding. She just grabbed her breast. And somehow Dana Brooks fell backwards. That was the craziest shit. I mean, she just literally grabbed Dana Brooks' breast, and I don't know. I think the force of the grab, and guess we know that Dana Brooks are real because she just bounced off and fell to the ground. So I guess that was one memorable moment tonight on Monday Night Raw. And then with the commercial break after that, and then they get back to the arena where you can see the steel cage was above the ring. I don't know why they didn't have the steel cage above the ring at the beginning of Monday Night Raw, but yeah. And so Michael Cole goes on to talk about the Cruiserweight division, the debut of the Cruiserweight division. Okay, why debut of the Cruiserweight division? Okay, the WWE's really got some problems remembering things. Because there was a Cruiserweight division in the WWE before, and this should have been called the return of the Cruiserweight division. I don't know. And it was exclusive to Monday Night Raw. And I don't know why they didn't mention that. It's like they keep on forgetting history. Or they just don't want to remember. And then they had a highlight the new Cruiserweight division. And they showed Cedric Alexander, who was a wrestler for Ring of Honor. And Brian Kendrick, who was there on SmackDown. He was at one time a United States champion, where he had Ezekiel Jackson as bodyguard. And also he was the TNA X Division champion. He had a good gimmick in TNA. He was the guru. Crazy Brian Kendrick. I don't know. He did great in TNA. Not so well in WWE. And then I guess I got to keep on continuing this little Chris and Kev show, from Rob and Big. Because Chris Jericho is skinny and Kevin Owens is fat. Big Kev. Then you see Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens talking about Mick Foley's decision of putting Kevin Owens in a steel cage match against Roman Reigns. And then Jericho says that Mick Foley is rotten, abusing his power. And then he steals someone's clipboard. He says he's going to make a list of everything that's wrong with Foley as general manager. And then it says when he shows it to Foley, he's not going to like. And there's a short pause. Then he says it. So I guess it is going to be his little gimmick. Yeah. Let's see. And the next match was Sin Cara versus Braun Strowman. And remember last week during the Sin Cara Braun Strowman match, Sin Cara lost by a countout because of Braun Strowman. So they did it again. And so throughout this entire match, Sin Cara, this rapid punches and kicks to Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman dominated nearly the entire match. But then Sin Cara got him out of the ring. He pulled the ropes and got Braun Strowman out of the ring, but he landed on his feet. Then he did a baseball slide on Braun Strowman. And then he did a suicide dive on Braun Strowman, which forced him back into the barricade. And then he goes for another one, but Braun Strowman doesn't go down again. And then they get back in the ring. He does a springboard moonsault, but Braun Strowman grabbed him. He caught him in midair and delivered a power slam for the win. So, yeah. I mean, I like how they show that Braun Strowman is dominant during his matches, but I'm wondering who will be the one who will beat Braun Strowman. And I'm going to leave you viewers to speculate who's going to be the one that beats Braun Strowman. Because it's not going to be Sin Cara. I don't know. I mean, the Raw doesn't have that many strong superstars that can help beat Braun Strowman. I don't know, maybe Mark Henry, who we haven't seen in a long while. Now that you mentioned it, I haven't seen Big Show. I know he's in the Raw roster, but we haven't seen him wrestle. I don't know. This whole draft thing, it was good before, but now it's just unnecessary. Especially how the WWE is. Especially since it's so PG, it's not going to be like it was before. And try to redo the stuff that made it great then won't work now. Especially with the Cruiserweight division. Okay, then you see backstage, Sasha Banks and Bayley were talking, and Bayley said that she cannot express how excited she is to be in the ring with her on Sunday like old times. But then Sasha talked about how they made history, but that was then and this is now. Sasha said last week she had Bayley beat, but then Bayley said she had her beat. So that's why they're in the triple threat match. And one of them is going to become the new Raw Women's Champion. As far as tonight, they'll show them how it's done. And the match was next, and I have to say that this is one of the better matches tonight. So, I mean, yes, Charlotte and Sasha Banks start up the match, but then Charlotte did a quick tag to Dana Brooke, and she did the majority of the match. I mean, it was good tag teaming with some help, with some good tag team from Sasha Banks and Bailey. I mean, it was a good match. Yeah, huh? But eventually it led up to Sasha Banks. I mean, it led up to Bailey trying to finish the match to Charlotte with the Bailey to belly, but then Daniel Brooks hold on to Charlotte's ankles, prevent Bailey to lift her out. But then Sasha attacked Daniel Brooks, but then she used this window opportunity to deliver a big boot to Bailey and got the 1-2-3 win. So Charlotte and Daniel Brooks won the match. Well, at least they did a build up to the Raw Women's Division match, championship match at Clash of Champions. And yeah, speaking of Michael Cole, I'm a little pissed off at him because I don't get it. They did this draft thing before, and they keep on forgetting this little fact. And and because Michael Cole says that this is going to be the first Raw pay-per-view, Raw exclusive pay-per-view, and they had exclusive pay-per-views back then. And yet they keep on forgetting this. I don't know if it's the fact that's telling them to do this, or they're just inept to bring up history, but come on, really? And besides, Clash of Champions wasn't even a pay-per-view. It was a WCW televised event, in which all titles were on the line. And they were the best part of WCW. And to have them ruin it by turning to a pay-per-view? I mean, this is the same as them turning a Money in the Bank ladder match, which was on WrestleMania, into a pay-per-view. Just like they turned the Elimination Chamber match into a pay-per-view match. Just like they turned the Hell in a Cell match to a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. And what I don't get is, why can't they use the old pay-per-views that are now debunked instead of using stuff from WCW? And what's going to happen? Are they going to use a ECW pay-per-view to try to get over the fans? Let's face it, WWE is not hardcore. WWE is lightweight. It pansies. I don't get it. Michael Cole, the ruiner of shows. Byron Saxton, who is the token punching bag of the commentators. And then you see backstage where Seth Rollins is at Stephanie McMahon's door, and he opens it, goes through, and let's face it, it's not in an office. It's just a backstage. It's probably up to a broom closet. And just put Stephanie McMahon's name on there. Probably the most appropriate place for her to be in. Because everything that WWE is doing is garbage. Especially what's happening tonight. And then you see several men welcoming Seth Rollins in her broom closet or backstage office. And Rollins asks why she threw it all away for Kevin Owens. And Stephanie says she didn't know what Triple H was going to do. I was ready for him the whole time. But then Rollins says that he came for the truth and wants to know why. Stephanie says that she can't explain what she doesn't know, and maybe Kevin Owens is right. Rollins is the reason the WWE World Heavyweight Championship went to SmackDown Live. And he lost to Finn Balor at SummerSlam. And then maybe her husband, who handpicked him, was tired of him ruining his reputation. Yeah, right. Like any stuff, Rollins ruined his reputation. He already ruined it years ago. Non-wrestling guy who used Stone Cold, Kurt Angle, The Rock to put himself over. And then Ross says that maybe her and her husband will figure it out at Night of Champions. I mean, oh yeah, he did say Night of Champions. Yeah, when Owens is flat on his back and he'll be holding the title. They put their money on the wrong horse and will come crawling back to him. Maybe not. Maybe he'll be their worst nightmare because he can't control him and knows all the moves. Yeah. And Stephanie cannot manipulate her. But then Stephanie warns him not to threaten her. And then she goes on and says she didn't know what her husband was going to do, but right now she wishes she did. Does she think that? And then she says, does she think that Kevin Owens is the right person to hold the title and lead Monday Night Raw against SmackDown Live? Yes, she does. Yes, she does. And does she think Kevin Owens has replaced Seth Rollins as the man? Then she goes and says that yes, she does. And then Rollins says that she used to be a shrewd businesswoman, but lately she started to crack. It all started with the return of her brother Shane, and he walks off. I don't know. I kind of like where this is going. Face Seth Rollins. I like a face Seth Rollins better than a heel Seth Rollins. I mean, at least this was a good build up to the match with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens, but I don't know. And then it goes to commercial break. Then afterwards, we get another jobber match between Bo Dallas and Gary Graham, who we just found out that Gary Graham is the grandson of Michael P.S. Hayes. And I don't know. And I don't know, from this match, I don't know if Gary Graham is going to be a great asset to the WWE. Probably might be doing better somewhere else. And I'm still trying to figure out Bo Dallas's angle, his little gimmick and all this, because he keep carrying that believe in both sign, and and he was, I don't know, he says some kind of a little bit of a poet, like a poem. When he got in the ring, he says the tide has turned, and I slowly learned that all our bridges need to burn as levers come and go and friends turn to foe. I've come to know that only I can believe in Bo. So what is he? Is he the new Raven? Is he the new WCW Raven? Because that's what he was he do. That's a little gimmick he was doing when he was at WCW. He said, quote the wave Raven, nevermore. And so the bell rings. And before Graham ever gets a shot in, Bo Dallas starts attacking him. And then there was a point where Graham did a roll up on Bo Dallas, but this really pissed him off. And then he did a front suplex on Graham on the top rope. Then he kneed him while he's on the top rope. Then he gets him back in the ring. And then he pulls, and then he gets outside the ring with him, and then pulls that little ring skirt on Graham and start beating the crap out of him. And then he did a crossroads, or what he's calling now, roll of the dice, for the win. So, good showing for Bo, not for Graham. I don't know. I really don't get his new gimmick. I don't know why he won't go back to the old gimmick. At least he was more entertaining. Yeah, but this is what the WWE wants. And this is what the WWE is going to get. And then coming up next was a best of 7 between Cesaro and Sheamus, because Sheamus won the first 3, a little bit of a rake of the eyes. Then Cesaro won the 4th match on a live show with a sloppy roll-up. And then Cesaro won last week with a foot on the ropes for leverage to win. So it's 3-2 Sheamus. Tonight will be match number 6. And then commenters talk about Connor's cure. Why are they just doing this? I don't know why they keep using cancer to put themselves over. And I doubt any of that money is going to cure cancer research, because they didn't really say where they're going to donate this money to, because saying that they're going to donate this to cancer research is a little bit of a broad statement, because let's face it, they're going to keep that money. I mean, let's not forget about the Suzuki Cohen thing, which you can see very clearly that they say that 20% of the profit was going to go to cancer research. So where was the other 80 going to go to? Right in the WWE's pocket. And they're saying that 100% of the profit from the T-shirts and all that is going to cancer research. But whose cancer research is it going to? Probably the WWE cancer research, in which they find ways of exploiting cancer. Let's not forget John Cena's exploitation of a little girl with cancer to try to put himself over. And that's what the WWE is doing. They're using cancer to put themselves over. They're using a dead child to put themselves over. And that just makes me sick to my stomach about what the WWE is doing. What's really sick, and these people are watching it, that they love it. Because let's face it, there's a whole lot of people who are doing stuff for cancer, just like the doctors or the nurses that take care of these sick kids with cancer. And I would really love, if they really wanted to do something, I gonna think that they're gonna try to do some little publicity stunt, in which they're gonna have some big check, and they're gonna have some kind of pro in the ring, which they're gonna give that check to some doctor or someone from cancer research, that's what's going to happen. Sooner or later, they're going to do that. Try to get themselves over. Eventually, this is going to catch on. I don't know. People are going to be fooled by this, what the WWE is doing. I mean, the WWE is spending so much money to try to kill the competition, but they're killing themselves, and I'm for it. And then they show a highlight of the Cruiserweight Classic, the final match between TJ Perkins and there's Grande Metallics. And I have to say, from the highlights, they were doing some great, good moments, but let's face it, the only reason why it was great is because they wanted to promote the WWE Network. But yes, that they're going on television, they're not going to do so good. That TJ Perkins is the champion. He's the purple champion. The Purple Haze champion. I don't know who picked that color out. And then come next was the best of 7 series between Cesaro and Sheamus. And throughout the beginning of the match, Sheamus has been concentrating on the back of Cesaro because you see the tape on his lower back. And they made an announcement that Michael Cole says that whoever wins this, Mick Foley promises them a championship opportunity, but they're very vague on which championship because they're both too heavy for the cruiserweight. So it leads up to the United States or the Universal Championship belt. Or the tag team titles, I don't know. I guess might be a golden ticket for any championship match. I don't know. And I hope Foley. I really hope the WWE gives Cesaro the chance to become Universal Champion. Let's face it, it's long overdue. And then while Sheamus concentrating on trying to go after the back, Cesaro uses the opportunity to go do some uppercuts to Sheamus. And Cesaro was trying to attempt to neutralize her, but Sheamus fights out of it and does a back body drop, but Cesaro landed on his feet. The Sheamus hits the ropes, but Cesaro does an uppercut to him and got a 2 count from it. And then tries to do the Cesaro swing, but Sheamus grabs the ropes. And then Sheamus sends Cesaro over the ropes. And then you see Mick Foley watching the match. And then we get back. You see Sheamus try to do a Rolling Senton on Cesaro, but off the second rope. But then Cesaro fights out of it, does a drop kick him off the turnbuckle on the floor. And then Cesaro does the running barrage of his uppercuts. And then there was one point where Sheamus delivered the white noise to Cesaro on the ring apron. And gets a 2 count. And then Sheamus tried to do the bro kick, but Cesaro moves out of the way. It does a roll up. It gets a 2 count. And then Cesaro tried to do the sharpshooter, but Cesaro gets out of it and delivers the Irish Curse backbreaker on him to get a 2 count again. And then Cesaro tried to do the Celtic Cross, but he turned it into a Celtic Cross backbreaker. to get a 2 count. That was something new. And then Sheamus tried to do the Irish curse backbreaker on him again, but Cesaro flips out of this and delivers an uppercut. And then Sheamus tried to do a bro kick, but Cesaro gets out of the way and he gets tangled up on the top rope. No, wait. No, wait. Sheamus does like a roll up to Cesaro, but then he was trying to use the ropes just like Cesaro did, but the referee caught him at the 2 count. Get pissed off. Then Cesaro avoids a bro kick as Sheamus hangs on the top rope. And then Cesaro delivers an uppercut to Sheamus and then delivers a quick neutralizer for the win. So the series is tied 3-3. And it's going to lead up to the final 7th match at Clash of Champions. And I hope this is a pay-per-view match, not on the kickoff show. Because if this match is going to decide on who's going to face the Universal Champion, it should be on the pay-per-view. And if Cesaro wins, I hope he becomes the Universal Champion. Let's face it, he is long overdue. Especially that burial match against Cena. Especially because they punish him for bringing up a point as to why he was not at what was it? Yeah, because he was on the kickoff show and he mentioned why he wasn't on the pay-per-view event, but then that they just punished him for it. He's long overdue for a major belt. Okay, let's see what else. And then you see Chris in back talking to Mick Foley. And he talks about how he's doing a terrible job as general manager. And he talked about how Foley never liked him. And then Foley says that's not true because he recommended him to Paul Heyman. Because Chris Jericho was in ECW back then. But now it's sad. Because let's face it, Chris Jericho going to any wrestling organization, but his stand in the WWE probably ruined any chance for that to happen. And then Jericho mentioned that he has a list. And then Mick Foley pretends he didn't hear it, and Jericho proves again. And Mick Foley mentions that he's missing an ear, calls Jericho a stupid idiot. Jericho then criticized Mick Foley's fashion sense. And then he retorts about that he's not wearing a shirt, that Jericho's not wearing a shirt, is wearing a scarf. And Jericho says it's trending in Luxembourg. And then Foley says that it may be trending there, but it's not trending right here in Memphis, Tennessee. So another cheap puff. And then Jericho writes down that Foley gives cheap babyface pops. And then Jericho says if Foley won't listen to the list of Jericho, he'll read it in the ring. And yeah, this really led up to a very dysfunctional tag team division. And then it goes to commercial break, then back again. And then it has Jericho in the ring. And he said Mick Foley's been doing a terrible job as general manager for the past 2 months. And tell him how Foley has been screwing him and his best friend Kevin Owens. and then screwing up the show. Then he said he made the list of Jericho as a put all the grievances. It gets fully down. And then he talks about how Foley is driving a wedge between him and Kevin Owens, which I never saw or none of us has seen. So I don't know where that came from because the only person who's been driving a wedge is Sami Zayn. And then Jericho went on and said that Foley has terrible fashion sense. And then he was on heel stuff. And then he picks out some fan in the crowd, doesn't mention names. Then he criticized that fan and said he put some on his list. He's talking about he's going to criticize that having a friendship with Sami Zayn, a guy that Jericho laid out last week. And then, oh God, the typical Raw moment in which Enzo and Cass music plays. And then Enzo says that Jericho isn't best friends with Kevin Owens. He said the real best friend would let a best friend go down to the ring wearing that scarf. And Big Cass said he and Cass are best friends like Beavis and Butthead, Bert and Ernie, or Winston and Vince Vaughn. And then Jericho said half of those people aren't real. Huh, half. So is Beavis and Butthead real? Is Bert and Ernie real? No one will say Vince Vaughn are real, but and then he said, "Did you think what they were of that when they were listening to their Spice Girl CD?" And then the train stars came down there, and they were trying to sell some Korean. Try to say they want to sell their own piece of Korean by purchasing a timeshare. They were passing out pamphlets, and then the New Day's music starts to play. And then Xavier Woods trying to plug his YouTube channel. Up, down, left, right, left, right. You know, the call from Contra for Infinite Lives. And then Carlos, and then he said that they're going to give away 2 free iPhone 7s. And then they'll call the people when they beat Gallows and Anderson at Clash of Champions. And then Carlos and then Gallows came to the ring. And then it's talk about how they talk about their stupid cereal, their YouTube channel. And then Jericho gets pissed off. Then he writes down, he said that the list of Jericho was about Foley, but now he turns to a list of stupid idiots, and they're all in it. Then Sami Zayn music plays, and then Jericho gets attacked by Sami Zayn, which leads up to a brawl in the ring, which once again it leads up to a 10-man tag match. Like, yeah. I mean, there was nothing much about it. Only it led up to Enzo and Cass using the Bada Boom Shakalaka for the win. I mean, this did not build up the tag team championship match there, which I have to say, I like the Raw tag team titles better than the SmackDown tag team titles, because if they would have had the black strap with the silver plate, it would have been good. But now they got the blue strap with the silver plate. It's just ugly. And then they showed another video package of the cruiserweight, of the 2 new cruiserweight matches. cruiserweight wrestlers or superstars. Grand Metallics, Grand Metallic, who was in the finals for the Cruiserweight Classic, and Rich Swann, who was a great wrestler, in PWG. And then went to commercial break. And then when it came back, they said that this month was Hispanic Heritage Month, and then they showed a highlight of Eddie Guerrero, and I have to say something about this because I found the WWE Eddie Guerrero bit on the stereotypical Mexican thing, how Mexicans lie, cheat, and steal. I like the WCW Eddie Guerrero. He was great. But the way they had Eddie Guerrero in the WWE, I just didn't like it. I mean, the whole thing. And what I don't understand is that they're using Eddie Guerrero to get themselves over. I mean, I know there were plenty of Hispanic wrestlers before Eddie Guerrero in the WWE. Tito Santana. But they used Eddie Guerrero, and they only highlighted the parts of him that lied, cheated, and stealed. And then they just didn't show all the great matches. And what I didn't understand, why didn't they show his match against Brock Lesnar? I mean, you could have just showed that. Him beating Brock Lesnar was the best match of his life. But no, you didn't. You did not show that. And I guess they will show the moment where him and Chris Benoit were in the ring after Chris Benoit won the World Heavyweight title. That's because of what happened. And then we get to the Cruiserweight division part, in which I have some problems with it. And I'm thinking, at the beginning, you see Mick Foley in there, and the color scheme turned to purple, because the purple is the color for the Cruiserweight division for some reason. I don't know why. And then Mick Foley starts quoting, "It's time for Mark Twain. It's not the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog." And throughout this entire time, he kept on messing this up. He talks about the Cruiserweight Classic, crowning a new Cruiserweight champion, TJ Perkins, who was not at Raw. I mean, would you want the Cruiserweight champion at Raw? But no, they didn't have him at Raw. And he talked about the passion and the entertainment that will present it only on Monday Night Raw. Out of the 32 athletes, they're brought forward to kick off the Cruiserweight division. And they did this because the guys who were to fight in this Cruiserweight division will, whoever wins this fatal four-way, will win a shot at TJ Perkins' Cruiserweight title at Night Class Champions. And Rick Swann's ring entrance. His theme music was something from I don't know. He was going to the ring dancing for the white folks. I knew they were going to do these black wrestlers like this. They got him dancing and gyrating in the ring. I don't know if that was his ring entrance during the PWG, but not. And up next was Grand Metallics, the running off for the Cruiserweight Classic. They talked about how his career in the CMLL. And then they had Cedric Alexander, and then Brian Kendrick. And so these guys are going to compete in a fatal four-way to be the number one contender for the Cruiserweight title, and they're going to fight TJ Perkins at Clash of Champions. And, I was expecting so much for the Cruiserweight division. And this was your inaugural match. And I did not like this match because of one little thing. This was slow. There were parts of the match in which the wrestlers just rested up and did nothing. They only did like one or two moves, then there was a little long pause. The action was too slow for the Cruiserweight division. I mean, there was a part where Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann were exchanging blows, which was slow. I like how Grand Metalik did his little twist on the second rope in the corner. Did a dive. I like how Cedric Alexander did dive over the ropes to the crowd of wrestlers, but this action was way too slow for a Cruiserweight division. Now, I watched WCW Cruiserweight division. Cruiserweight division in WCW was the best part of WCW. Because it was a high-paced action, especially Eddie Guerrero. But this, for your first match in the Cruiserweight division, you have them do these moves so slow. Especially the part where Rich Swann did a snap mirror on Cedric Alexander and a kick to the back of the neck. It was too slow. I mean, he did a snap mirror. Then he paused for a few seconds, then did the kick. I just don't get why the WWE did this. I mean, you made so much noise about the Cruiserweight division, and tonight you have these guys at a very slow pace. I mean, look at the X division. X division was high pace with no limits. Ring of Honor, which doesn't have a Cruiserweight division, acts like it. And their matches are high pace, but it's Cruiserweight. I mean, even the past, the WWE Cruiserweight was a lot more fast paced than the current one now. And I just don't get it. I was literally pissed off through the entire match. And, I was expecting this match was going to be like 5 minutes because of high paced action. I was expecting this to be high pace, and then this went on for over 10 minutes, nearly gone to 30. And I was wondering because, the next match was the Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in the steel cage match. I thought that match was going to be longer, and the Cruiserweight match the Fatal 4 was going to end. But, throughout the match, he had Brian Kendrick just outside the ring, waiting for his moment to strike, and he did. And I was surprised about this This Is Awesome match because, let's face it, there were points in the match that were great, but I didn't think it warrants a This Is Awesome chant. because it's too slow. And I'm not too sure the crowd was chanting "This is awesome." Whether these "This is awesome" chants were piped in by the WWE. And you know what? That was another part of the match I like, because when Brian Kendrick was trying to do a slice bread on Rick Swan, Vitalis caught him in midair, but then Brian Kendrick countered this into a DDT, and then Rick Strong kicks Alexander, and then Alexander tried to get a ring, but Rick Strong kicked him out. And then Rick Strong did he was jumping up and down, and he did a 450 splash on right Sergio Alexander, and but then Kendrick kicked him out of the ring, and he did the bully choke on Cedric Alexander. I know it's called a bully choke or captain's hook. But then Metallics King comes in and stomps on Brian Kendrick. And then Metallics did a double knee back breaking to Brian Kendrick. But then Kendrick recovers quickly and delivers the bully. I don't know, captain's hook on Cedric Alexander and wins the match. So it's Brian Kendrick versus TJ Perkins for the Cruiserweight Division Tag Team, the Cruiserweight Championship. And I just did not like this match on the sole purpose of because it was slow. This is how you're going to introduce the Cruiserweight Division, have a very slow pace match. I mean, come on. This is what I don't get. It's like when you have these WWE Network wrestling shows like NXT and the Cruiserweight Classic. Those guys get to do a lot of things, but God, this match was too slow and it just pissed me off. I mean, I knew they were going to screw it up, but not like this. Not so. Oh God, I just don't understand this. I knew this Cruiserweight division was going to be terrible on the WWE Raw. I just knew it. God, just seeing it like this is it's just so disappointing. And Cedric Alexander, you sign up for this. TJ Perkins, you left TNA, which, you know what, probably TNA's fault, but come on, you could have went to Ring of Honor or New Japan, but not the WWE. Well, at least those two guys are getting that network and network money and probably might leave. As I'm guessing, they got independent contracts. They can go and leave anytime they want to. And I thought that maybe tonight would have been the debut of that Chinese wrestler that Triple H signed, but guess we'll have to wait till next week or sometime. I don't know. I give this match a 1 out of 5. That's maybe 2 because the good moments in the match, but come on, it's too slow. I don't get it, the slowness of this match. And because this match was so long, the main event was going to get cut short. And so now we had the steel cage match between Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. And for some reason, they still kept the stipulation of Getting out of the ring will get you the win. Still don't get that. There should have been. There was a reason for a steel cage to keep the action inside the ring, but okay. Well, we start this matchup where Kevin Owens was talking smack. They were circling the ring, but then Kevin Owens made a beeline to the steel cage door, but Reigns stopped him. And it's a good action in the ring. Kevin Owens made several attempts to try and get out through the door. Let's see. And then Roman Reigns pulls it back and starts punching Kevin Owens, but then Kevin Owens ducks a clothesline, tries to run out again, but Reigns pulls him back in the ring. And then Kevin Owens tries to climb out of the ring, but Roman Reigns punches him down. And then Roman Reigns bounces off the turnbuckle. Then Owens kicks him back, but Reigns floors him with a right hand. Then Reigns sends him to the ropes, but he lowers his head and eats a kick. Then Reigns comes back with two clotheslines before connecting with a leaping clothesline. Then Reigns punches Kevin Owens against the ropes. But then before sending him to the corner, Reigns hits a corner clothesline for hitting the ropes, and Owens sends Reigns head first in the cage, and a super kicks him for a 2 count. And this is what I don't get. In the past, when it has steel cage matches, there is always blood, especially if the wrestler's head hits the steel cage. They will bleed, and there will be blood, because that's what happens when you hit the steel cage. You bleed. But not the WWE. The boring WWE. So there goes the commercial break. Then they come back. You see then you see the two guys up on the steel cage trying to climb out on top of the rope. And there's just punching each other out. But then Owens breaks the eyes and Reigns falls to the mat. Then Reigns gets up and pulls Owens' leg out of him. And he lands crotch first on the top rope. Then Reigns hits the ropes. And that lets him gets the raw wall for 3 count. Then Owens falls into the ring and eats a big boot from Reigns. Then Reigns sets up for a Superman punch, but Owens runs for the door again, and Reigns pulls him back again. But then Reigns punches him because of this, and then Reigns quickly comes back with a small drop for a near fall. Then Reigns was talking a little trash to Owens for clubbing blows in the corner. Then Reigns hits the ropes, but Owens avoids a big boot and connects a German suplex on the Roman Reigns. Then Kevin Owens does a cannonball on him. And then Owens tries to leave the cage again, but Reigns grabs his ankles, and Owens tries to kick him off. It goes for the back splash, but Reigns gets his knees up, and Kevin Owens lands on him. And now Reigns goes for the cage, but Owens holds him. Then Reigns punches him off, and then again the trade blows. Reigns got the heel reaction. Well, Kevin Owens got the face reaction. But then during the exchange, Owens needs him in the midsection. Then Owens sends him into the ropes, but Reigns holds on and elbows him. Then they trade some more blows before getting into a brawl. Then Owens knees him in the midsection and suplexes him. Then Owens goes for a pop-up powerbomb, but Reigns counters it with a Superman punch from near fall. And Michael Cole says, "What a sequence!" Let's face it, it was not a good sequence. I mean, it was a rough sequence between those exchange. Again, my problem with Michael Cole, he doesn't know how to call a match, doesn't know how to call a move. He forgets history. Ugh. Then Reigns is trying to go after Owens in the corner, but then Owens kicks him in the face. And then Owens goes for the spear. Then Reigns wildly screams and runs into a pop-up powerbomb for a near fall by Owens. And then Owens got a little pissed off at this point. And then Owens begins to climb the cage. And he was nearly out, but then Reigns gets up and grabs him by his legs and pulls him up into the top rope. And Owens bounces Reigns' head on steel cage for a few times. And then Owens goes to talk trash. And then Reigns lands on the top turnbuckle, and then delivers a Superman punch to Roman Reigns that sends him to the floor. And then there began a race between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns because Kevin Owens was going to try to leave through the door, but then Reigns starts to go climb the cage, and Roman Reigns beats Kevin Owens to the ground by climbing the cage and climbing down. And so Roman Reigns beats Kevin Owens. Yeah. And then after the match, Rusev attacks Roman Reigns. And then he gets Roman Reigns into the steel cage. But then he gets the chain that locks the cage. He goes in there too with Roman Reigns. He wraps the chain around the cage door. He locks it, and then they begin to attack Reigns. And then Rusev delivers the accolade to Roman Reigns. But then Seth Rollins music plays, and then Kevin Owens points at the door that's locked. But then Seth Rollins made a beeline to the steel cage wall. He started to climb it, and then Kevin Owens started to climb up, try to stop him, but Seth Rollins knocks him down. Then Rusev climbs the cage again. Climbs the cage too, but then Seth Rollins knocks him down. And then Seth Rollins climbs up to the top cage. And then Kevin Owens and Rusev got up, and Kevin and Seth Rollins did a splash off the steel cage to Rusev and Kevin Owens, and that's how Monday Night Raw ends. So, yeah, at least Seth Rollins had a good showing tonight. He pushed Rusev off the balcony, and Seth Rollins left from the steel cage. I don't know. I mean, the best matches were the women's division match and the best of 7 match. Everything else was just awkward and slow. Especially that fatal 4-way for the cruiserweight title. Oh, God. And having Cole mess up lines like that. having Mick Foley mess up lines like this. This is what happens when you base your wrestling organization on entertainment. I just don't get this. I mean, this Monday Night Raw was horrible. The Cruiserweight division's horrible. And I really hope that the Cruiserweight Championship is a lot quicker than we just saw in Monday Night Raw. No build up for the tag team match or the United States match. Although I did like Seth Rollins leaping from the steel cage. That was the highlight of Monday Night Raw. But, oh God, this whole show. And Raw is SmackDown are 5 for ratings? Are you kidding me? I just don't get this. I really don't. I mean, come on. The WWE. I'm comparing WWE to Lehman Brothers. And if you want to know why, go on YouTube, type in Lehman Brothers, and you'll see. Because they're both big companies trading. I mean, Lehman Brothers does trading, WWE does sports entertainment, but the Lehman Brothers were a bunch of liars who lie about their product. And people get suckered in and get their money stolen. Just like the WWE's doing. I don't know. This whole thing. Pissed off at Cole, pissed off at Foley, pissed off at the Cruiserweight division. I mean, your first Cruiserweight match, and it's slow. You start Monday Night Raw with talking. Or at least what TNA does, it leads up to something. Let's face it, I just don't get this. I mean, I should be happy for the Cruiserweight division, but the way they were doing it, it was so slow. I don't know. I mean, basically, Raw, SmackDown, 5 for ratings. Let's face it, you guys are the lowest rated show on the USA Network, and they were smart. They would kick you guys off and put some new show in their place. But they won't. And it's up to us to try to get rid of the WWE. Let's face it, folks. It's my opinion, but the WWE sucks now. It's been sucking for years, and it's getting worse. And when it's going to get to the point where these WWE Universe will turn on the product, because they can't be the WWE satisfied the WWE Universe with just moments. That's it. And I'm going to end it right here. And I hope you guys like this review. Hit the like button if you do. Leave your comments on this video. And I'll talk to you later when I do my SmackDown review. And let's hope that SmackDown does something better than Raw. Thank you and good night, folks.